What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now, ladies and gentlemen, holy crap. The other day, I saw some information about Battlefield 6 that put the biggest smile on my face in a very long time. We are apparently going to be seeing, as you can see right here from a post that I saw over on Reddit by Marvelous HD, that Battlefield 6's Season 1 will feature 3 free maps, ladies and gentlemen. Now, for those who don't know, we have not seen content like this in a very long time. Just to put it into perspective, Battlefield 5 dropped with, I believe, 2 maps, one of them being a massive open tank map. 2042 only dropped with 1 map. And Battlefield 1, I think wasn't Battlefield 1 still DLC? But regardless, this is on par with previous DLC methods. Ever since live service was introduced into the Battlefield franchise, we kept getting less and less and less, and to see that they're actually stepping up their game and giving us a reasonable amount of content for the first season right out the gate. And we already have 9 maps to begin with, ladies and gentlemen. We're already looking very juicy as it is. And they're giving us 3 right out the gate. Probably not right out the gate. How I'm assuming it's going to be done is Season 1 will obviously, take place over a certain period of time. More than likely, we'll see 2 at the launch of Season 1 and then 1 during the mid-season, kind of like how Call of Duty does it. But regardless, 3 maps that are Battlefield size. You got to keep this in mind as well. These maps are not as simple as something like you would see in Splitgate or X-Defined or Call of Duty. Battlefield 6, the maps take a lot of time to go ahead and put together to make sure that the flow actually makes sense. You have larger scale maps that have to fit 64 players on them that has destruction and vehicles. It's not easy to balance that out and, in a moment's notice. It's going to take a long time to put that stuff together, hence why when live service was introduced for Battlefield, we only saw 1 to 2 maps, per season realistically. And here we are, and their confidence levels are so high that we are going to be seeing 3. As I stated, that puts a massive smile on my face. But ladies and gentlemen, not only do we know that we're getting 3, we also know exactly what those maps are going to be besides one of them. But apparently Season 1 is going to take place all in the US of A, and 2 of them so far are going to be taking place in California. First and foremost, and again, keep in mind, I'm going to have the links to all of this stuff down in the description of this video. I'm not showcasing any leaks on this, video, obviously, so I don't get it struck down. But you guys can see for your own eyes down in the description. But first up, I want to talk about Badlands, which is going to be, once again, a map that's taking place in California. And I'm pretty positive this is the one that takes place in the oil fields. For those who probably, remember back when we first saw the images of this, we only saw the loading screen of what it looked like. Not anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We have so many screenshots of what the overall map looks like. And I gotta be real, including the overview as well. Don't forget that. We can see the overview of what this map looks like. And I'm going to be real, it seems like vehicle players are going to be very happy. DICE was not lying when they said that the original base maps are going to be the smallest in the game, and everything that comes out afterwards throughout all the seasons of Battlefield 6 are going to be much larger than what we, initially got. And so far, from every last bit of leaked information that I've seen, they are living up to those expectations. Now, I will say, I don't know if this is going to be as large as some maps that people want to see, but for someone of my caliber who loves, a mix of both vehicle and infantry gameplay, where everything is welcome, not just one specific, loadout, it's looking really juicy. And as I stated, Badlands looks like it's going to be a phenomenal map when it comes down to overall vehicle gameplay, and I'm assuming it's going to be one of the maps that allows all different types of vehicle combat, whether it's jets, helicopters, tanks, all of the above, because the overall layout kind of looks, pretty open. Seems like a map that a lot of sniper players are going to enjoy. Of course, we don't know how the final, form of this map is going to look like, but from what we have knowledge of right here, right now, yeah, this looks like it's going to be some sniper territory, vehicle territory. But I got to be real with how DICE has been designing these current maps. It doesn't look intimidating to an infantry player. That's probably my favorite part about all the maps so far, is that no matter what, even if I just want to simply play infantry, run around with a fully auto, a DMR, whatever I want, I'll always be able to find some way to navigate some of these maps. Fingers crossed, of course, it might change when we actually hop into the experience and the public has full access to it. But for the time being, it is looking pretty dang juicy. And next up here, ladies and gentlemen, we have a map called Eastwood, which looks outstanding as well. Once again, another map that's taking place in California. I have no clue the specifics. It looks like maybe some type of clubhouse or, central massive building that has a poolside area, so on and so forth. Looks pretty awesome. And then obviously in the outskirts, from the overview, it looks like it's going to be a small little town. So again, I feel like people might be a little, off when it comes down to this, and they're going to be salty because it's more building to building type of gameplay. But as I stated, for me personally, it looks really solid. I would say don't judge it just yet until you see the links down in the description of this video for yourself to actually get the true vibes of what it's going to be all about. Overall, as I stated before, I'm loving the California vibes. I'm loving the fact that a lot of these maps are taking place in the USA. It's really awesome. I absolutely adore that. I've always thought that a game based strictly around, the United States would be a cool entry into the overall franchise, especially being someone who lives in the USA and has visited a lot of these locations. It's just awesome to see. Like the New York map, for example, that is epic. Both of them, the Manhattan Bridge and also Empire State, look so cool. And a lot of them, again, resemble real-life locations. I actually saw a comparison photo a while ago of Empire State, of the IRL version, and then comparing it to the in-game version. Identical. I can only imagine how people who live in New York, feel playing Battlefield 6. It must just be mind-boggling at times. But my question to you guys is, what do you all think the third map is going to be? Because apparently, as I stated, there's going to be 3 maps within the first season of Battlefield 6. They are all going to take place in the USA, and 2 of them already, the confirmed ones that we can see, are taking place in California. Do you think the third map is going to take place in California as well? Or do you think they're going to go ahead and rotate that around and try out some different locations? I understand they're trying to, hyper prioritize the hot spots. If someone was going to actually invade USA, where would they want to attack, where they would, want to try to get all their resources in, so on and so forth. So I understand, the New York maps and the California maps. But personally, I hope they really branch out and try some other locations as well, whether, it's realistic or not. I don't really care. I just think it's so cool seeing so many different parts of the USA being used as battlegrounds within this overall experience. It's just really cool to see. So again, I would love to hear what you guys will have to say. Low-key, I wouldn't mind like a Florida-style map. I think that would be pretty dope. Maybe add some alligators up in there, you know what I'm saying? Although it's still pretty close to the California vibes. But the thing about the USA, although, it's not the craziest of all places, there are a lot of different locations here. You can go anywhere from desert locations to, tall, towering mountains to nothing but ocean and beautiful views and beaches to, city areas to just straight country land and farm territory. Literally, I'm not lying to you when I say the possibilities are absolutely endless. They have so many opportunities, it's just mind-boggling. I have no clue what they're going to do with the end results after all of these seasons, but I can't deny I am extremely excited to see how it pans out. But ladies and gentlemen, overall, DICE is ready to frickin' explode when it comes down to Battlefield 6. I am very impressed with, 1, how they've been handling this game, and 2, the future planned content for this game. That was one of my biggest concerns. I keep thinking to myself, there has to be something here, right? Like, it's EA we're talking about. There must be something wrong. Something has to be behind the scenes, ready to jump out and say, gotcha, because you can't get a good quality AAA game nowadays. You have to rely on indie studios and smaller teams to put out something that's passionate. Whenever a AAA game puts out something that's pretty and actually flows, there's always something behind the hidden door. But for the first time, it doesn't even seem that way, As I stated, the gameplay was my first concern. I played the beta, I fell in love. My second concern comes down to content. Battlefield's notorious for not giving you any maps. You'll wait months on top of months on top of months on top of months. You'll get one map in the rotation, and you're left with nothing to do. It bores the community like crazy. Here we are with already 3 hinted maps, and we don't even know what else is dropping within these seasons. They might have limited time modes. They might have events. They might have so many different things can happen. We don't know yet. So just starting off with 3 maps is such a amazing push in the right direction for the first time ever within the Battlefield franchise. The only thing I could think of that can mess it up now is the Battle Royale. The Battle Royale dropping, maybe it becomes very successful, and then a lot of the support that we had from multiplayer goes over to the Battle Royale instead, and, the community kind of gets screwed over. That is the only thing I can think of now. So we still have one more obstacle to go, ladies and gentlemen, when it comes down to EA and DICE and how they handle Battlefield 6. The good thing is that the Battle Royale isn't dropping right away, and it's going to take a handful of months until it actually gets introduced, so DICE will have enough time to polish off the game, fix bugs, balance out weapons for the multiplayer experience, add more content, make sure that multiplayer is good before they release the BR. But there's no guarantees. We see Call of Duty with Warzone, right? The second Warzone started popping off, it literally took all of their focus, even down to how they designed the games. COD used to have a distinct feel to each and every title. You knew what was an Infinity Ward game. You knew what was a Treyarch game. You can't tell that anymore. They made the game so similar now just because they want to make sure when they port stuff to Warzone, it ports properly and it actually works nicely. So guess what? Multiplayer suffers Warzone thrives. And I'm a little worried about the same thing here with Battlefield. It might not happen now. This is the first introduction to the Battle Royale. And obviously, pretty much all the content is planned out for Battlefield 6. That's another thing people have to remember. When it comes to content, a lot of the stuff has been made months ahead, or maybe even a year plus in advance. You have no clue. A lot of this stuff has been already done. But what I will say to you is that although this game might turn out good, if the Battle Royale turns out great, that doesn't guarantee that the next implementation for Battlefield will change. They might shift everything if the Battle Royale becomes a, main breadwinner for them. So only time will tell, but at the end of the day, DICE is cooking, and I'm so excited to see what the future holds for this overall game. But ladies and gentlemen, as always, if you enjoyed today's video, leave a like. If you hate it, leave a dislike. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell. I post here daily at 8 in the morning Eastern Time, and I also double upload at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Everything between Battlefield, COD, Splitgate 2, Arc Raiders, Gears of War. I try to post as many different FPS or even third-person shooter games as possible that I personally enjoy a lot. So if you guys want to stay tuned on all that content, subscribe and hit that bell. And last but not least, I do stream Monday through Saturday over on Twitch starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If you guys are, interested in chatting it up with me or hopping into open lobbies, you can find a link to my Twitch channel down in the description of this video. But as always, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all next one. Peace out.